Selenium or somebody?
They were sold to HP. And then subsequently Micro Focus. That happened just a couple years ago that they were acquired by Micro Focus. So it used to be WinRunner,
Right,
Quick Test Pro, and now Quick Test Pro is still around, but there's this other thing called LeanFT or Functional Pro or something that it's one of the trends I'm seeing is that a lot of those commercial tool vendors who do testing tools for website testing are adopting either support for Selenium or support for WebDriver to author and execute their tests.
Okay.
So, what other questions do you have? Surely to goodness, I rambled on for 45 minutes and have answered every single question you've ever had. Yes, sir.
Do you have a good resource for kind of best practices when you get started? So you have like MyID, you have MyXPath, you have all these different ways.
Yeah.
You have different types of ways of waiting. You can thread sleep, right? But then you
Yep.
also wait for this.
Yep.
So what are your best practice recommendations, or is there a site?
So there are some, great, so that's a good question. There are some really nice books that are out there that I can give you some recommendations for. One is by a guy named Dave Hafner called Elemental Selenium. Full disclosure, he happens to be a friend of mine, but that one is really good, and he does have a lot of, and he has a companion site that has tips and tricks, and I think he still is running his weekly newsletter that sends you a Selenium tip into your inbox every week. Elemental Selenium is what you'd want to look for there. There is another one by another decent book. I can't remember the exact title, but it's by a guy named Dima Kovalenko is the author's name, and I think it's Selenium Patterns or something like that, which is pretty good. As far as websites goes, I don't have any good off the top of my head saying go here to find the greatest Selenium stuff. I will say that the Selenium project itself, we use the IRC. We use IRC. There's an IRC channel, and it's mirrored on Slack. So if you have Slack and you want to connect up via Slack, you can talk to any of us that work on the Selenium project. I'm almost in the channel almost every weekday during business hours, and you can ping me there. So we're always happy to answer questions that people might have.
Yeah, just playing with stuff and adding custom attributes for testing, and I don't know if that's a good practice or a bad practice, right? What are the pros and cons?
Depends on what you're actually doing. It can be a good thing. It can be a less than good thing, depending on how you do it. I can actually show Selenium in action if you really want to see it, but it's pretty straightforward. Anybody want to see that?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, here I have. It'd be hard pressed to see. Let's see if I can make this any bigger so people can actually see what's going on here. Ooh. Let's see. So this is C# code, which most people will be able to make that a little smaller. And what I'm going to do, this is running on a Windows VM, obviously Windows 10. And this is an in-unit test, right? And there are before and after stuff that will start up the browser and kill it when it's over. But here I have, all I'm saying is driver.url go to. This is a variable within a class that tells it what the URL is that it needs to go to, which is going to be on localhost. Telling it to find an element by ID. The ID is key reporter. I've added these sleeps in here just so you can see what's going on, rather to actually make it visible. Ordinarily, it would just flash by and you wouldn't really be able to see it. I've got a string that's A through Z. I want you to send the keys to the element that we found. Then I want you to read the value, get the value attribute of that element, and make sure that it's equal to the string that we send. Pretty straightforward stuff, right?
Sure.
How will that be?
Well, if the keys didn't get set properly, if there was some kind of JavaScript thing that mangled the keys or mangled the string that was set.
I do it all the time.
So I'm just going to use the test. This is just the regular standard Test Explorer pane. Let's see. That box is the web server starting up, and this is running Chrome. Yep, it's Google Chrome, and there it types the thing in, and it paused so that you could see that's what it was doing. Now, the big promise of IE, or of Selenium, and the thing that makes it really cool is that it's cross-browser. So let's say I didn't want to run that against Chrome. So I want to run that against IE. So I just change what browser I'm using. Run it again. Start with the HTTP server again, the web server. And this time, you'll see that it actually is running in IE right there. And it goes and it types the keys in, and you know, oh, so how about Firefox? Oops, hadn't finished right here.
Zoom
Hmm?
in. Zoom in.
And there's Firefox. See, it's doing the same thing. Typed in the keys, verified they were there. Test passes. Pretty straightforward stuff. I mean, that's the key. The beauty of WebDriver is that you can run the same code, and I haven't changed any of the code. All I'm changing is my settings, and this isn't standard. This is a custom framework that I've created to actually to have all my settings in. That's not something that's part of the framework, but you know, I can even go to Edge. No guarantee this will actually work. Edge just can be finicky. But it started up Edge, navigated to the page, type the keys in, and passed the test. So yeah.
And what do you control about the speed?
You don't. Actually, in the actual test itself, if I was actually testing this for real,
Oh, really?
those sleeps wouldn't be there, right? If I actually run it now, it'll rebuild automatically. Take that change. It's building, because I made a code change that has to build the code. Now you'll see how quickly it actually goes. It's going to start up with Chrome. See, that's how fast it goes, right? I put the sleeps in there basically just so you could see it. You don't control the speed of Selenium. You don't. There's no speed setting that says I want it to run slower.
What about the scrappers? How they do it?
What about the what?
Scrappers, the guys who...
Oh, the script. Oh, yeah, so there are mechanisms that you can use. Like, for example, there is a thing. Again, this is kind of detail oriented, but there's a thing called implicit waits. So what you can do is there's a timeout on your driver that you can say set my implicit wait timeout to 5 seconds, right? And then when you do a find element, it'll wait up to 5 seconds for that element to exist. And if it doesn't, then it'll throw an exception. That's an implicit wait. There's also, the Selenium project provides also a construct called a WebDriver wait, which is a polling wait. You send it a condition and say, keep trying this condition every half second, or what you can set the interval, but by default it's a half second. Keep trying this condition every half second until it either returns true or you hit the timeout. So that's how you handle that. You have judicious use of wait mechanisms that you yourself control.
In .NET, the .NET library, you can like wait for visible, wait for clickable,
Yep.
things like that. So you can see when something's clickable, visible.
Yep.
So when you have like a single page web application, an SPA,
Yep.
spa, and it's doing AJAX calls.
Yep.
You might have to wait for elements to show up.
Yep.
To be visible, be
Yep.
clickable for you.
There's some nifty techniques that are really kind of cool with SPAs that if you guys decide you want me to come back and do like, what's the next level after this? How do you actually use this stuff? I've got another thing I can show you that actually talks about some of the techniques you can use for that. It's kind of the 201 level. What comes after Hello World, you know?
The Selenium conference has a bunch of their stuff on
Yeah.
YouTube. So
Yeah, almost every Selenium conference talk that has been since Boston, I think, is up on YouTube under the Selenium Conf channel.
There's
So
one that blew me away that talks about things like, what I was doing was every time I went to the website, I was logging in, right?
Yep.
Like, no, you should just have a test that tests
Yep.
your login, and then you should just have a backend service that basically
Yes.
gets you logged in automatically. So
Yes.
you can test the page you're testing.
Yes,
So
and you set the cookie on the page. You set a cookie, and then you just browse directly to the page that you do. Yeah, yeah.
stuff like
Techniques like that are kind of hard won over the years. We've kind of people have figured out. So, yeah. Again, that's the kind of thing that the IRC channel or the Slack channel is pretty good for. You come in and say, well, this problem doing X. What how can I help? And there's usually people in the channel who are willing to help.
Is there any issues with like Kendo tools?
There can be. For example, one of the big things, one of there can be, and it just kind of depends on what the tool or what the widget vendor has done in the DOM. Angular is really popular these days, right? Angular has its own Selenium library that's based on Selenium or based on WebDriver called Protractor, right? And it's a wrapper specifically for Angular based applications that uses WebDriver and Selenium underneath it, but they just have their own custom locators and things like that to make it easier to deal with Angular applications. Protractor.
Protractor.
Yeah.
I'm glad I asked you.
Yeah. I don't know that React has something similar. I'm not really involved in the React community at all, so I don't really, at the end of the day, when it all comes right down to it, it's all HTML and DOM, right? Under the covers, that's what everything is. So if you can get down to that level, you can usually do something with it. You can even drop down to executing JavaScript in the browser if you need to. There's a method in Selenium to execute, JavaScript in the browser if you have to. It's kind of the trapdoor. So, if you want to connect me, the easiest way to get a hold of me is on Twitter. I'm at Jim Evans Music on Twitter. I usually respond pretty quickly to that. If you want to hit me up on LinkedIn, that's great. Feel free to do so. But when you send me a connection request on LinkedIn, please put, hey, I saw you at the St. Pete, .NET meetup, because that'll help me know whether to actually accept the connection or not. So.
I'm sure you have so many connections. You gotta,
I actually do keep my social networks pretty clean to people that I actually know or that I've actually met at some point. So, yeah.
Rock stars are like that.
Hey, it's like when that person tries to be clever and says at the checkout line says, "Give me your autograph on the credit card receipt." I'm like, I won't give you my autograph, but I'll sign it for you. I'll give you my signature. They're different. Right. Anything else? Thanks. Thanks everybody. Thanks for listening. Appreciate it.
All right, we have a building microservices book for the giveaway for this month. I'll let Jim do the honors.
Oh my goodness.
Take a minute here.
All right, here we go. All right. Ticket number 340089.
Oh, shit.
Brilliant. Thanks.
Yes.
There you go. Beautiful.
And we would certainly love to have you back for the next level course.
You have to. Be happy to.
Check our schedule
Yeah.
and get it going. Want to be sure to thank everyone for coming out. Please do join the discussion on the meetup board. Join the discussions on the Facebook group. Follow us on Twitter. Follow us on YouTube. Clayton seems to have been making progress.
The last 10 minutes actually had audio.
Please take magazines back to your coworkers. Encourage them to join us next month or later this month for our first second meeting of the, whatever. So we're having a second meeting later this month that we'll be announcing as well.
That's on Thursday, you said?
The third Thursday every other month.
And you don't know the topic yet, though, right?
So this one's going to be more just kind of come and share. So it's very much informal. Get tips and tricks, advice, see what other people are working on, kind of more social and a little more informal. But take magazines, take pizza with you. We'll be hitting up a local restaurant or bar for after-hours beverages on your own dime. Please drink responsibly. So we'll see you later this month or next month. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah.